All it took was one day to see which one of these teams would be seeing each other in the second round. And I'll tell you right now, the Knicks and Pacers was the series I wanted to see. Now, it might not look like that when you go back to look at my playoff prediction video. Milwaukee Bucks, you're making your way to the NBA Finals, okay? Okay, in my defense, I thought Giannis was going to be back and playing at that time, but I'll get to the Pacers and Bucks here in a minute because we first need to talk about the Knicks and 76ers. Arguably the most entertaining and thrilling first-round matchup we have seen since the Kings vs. Warriors last year. Because from a fan standpoint, this series had everything you wanted. It had beef, fighting, close games, clutch baskets, masterclass performances on both ends, star players emerging. I mean, this was a basketball fan's wet dream. And I actually want to start this off by giving credit where credit is due, and that goes to Joel Embiid. This is now my third video in a row talking about this series, and in every single video, I have done some sort of hating on Joel Embiid. But we're going to start off right now with the credit that he deserves, because there's no other player, I don't think in playoff history, that has gone through what Joel Embiid has gone through and has still been able to go out there and provide the numbers and help for his team that he has done. The guy has been playing on one leg. Literally, I'm not even kidding, one leg. There's been clips of him where he can't run. There's clips of him where he's limping off of the court after just one play. He's going to the back locker room to get checked up on after plays, after timeouts. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous what this guy did to be able to go out there and help his team and try to push on forward to the second round. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. And that's not even to mention the Bell's palsy, I'm pretty sure is the one it's called. That is something that he's suffering through that no one had any idea about until he had to say it publicly, because we were like, what the hell is happening with his face? Joel Embiid playing in this first round makes Michael Jordan's flu game look like a little kid playing in the park. So for that, I give Joel Embiid every single bit of credit I can give him. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Joel Embiid a little bit later on after we talk about the game itself. But since we're on the topic of the losing team here, I also want to give a ton of credit to Tyrese Maxey, because what he showed in this series was that he is the guy. There was no point in the 76ers trying to go out and get other players or other star players to put alongside Joel Embiid, because it is Tyrese Maxey that can get it done. He is officially the star next to Joel Embiid. They don't have to go out and try to get James Harden like they did last time for no goddamn reason. That move was still stupid to me. I'm sorry. So yeah, Tyrese Maxey also deserves a ton of credit because he's taken his game to a whole new level. Most improved player of the year, whether or not I think that was deserved or not, you can just go watch this video if you want to hear me talk about that award. He's the most improved player of the year. He dropped, I think it was like a 46 point game against the Knicks in this playoff series. He was ridiculous. Now, maybe in this game, he didn't show up as much as we'd like him to. And if we're going to talk about not showing up, oh boy, do we have to talk about Tobias Harris, because maybe the casual 76ers fans were right in saying that the 76ers should have traded him for a crumble cookie.
Casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a crumble cookie.
Because I seriously think a crumble cookie could at least put up more than 2 shots in this game. Tobias Harris did nothing but run around for 29 minutes, putting up 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 and 2 for shooting, 0 from 3, 0 free throws. I'm trying to look through advanced stats to see if he did anything. Maybe he has some sort of LeBron plus minus differential per 36. No, he didn't do anything. You can look at any stat. He had no improvement on this game. And I'm sure when you're watching this game as a 76ers fan, that is very frustrating, but it's also not the first time, right, you've gone through that. Tobias Harris has done this before. But what Buddy Hield did in this game, he's never done either. Shooting 6 for 9 from 3, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Buddy Hield, the guy that has been sitting on the bench for a majority of this series because he has been so god awful, finally got another opportunity and he made the most of it. He scored. He was out there hitting clutch shots, some shots that also got them back into this game when they were off on their rough start. Whew, man, Buddy Hield was on fire. Unfortunately though, not when it matters, because for some reason with 3 seconds left in the game, he acts like it's 0.3 seconds left in the game and hooks up the most god-awful shot of all time. Now, I do want to say, maybe with a little bit of hindsight and being able to go back and replay that specific shot, I think he felt like he got fouled. I felt like he thought the Knicks were going to foul so they couldn't get a 3-point shot off. And as soon as he kind of felt some hands on his arms, he tried doing the rip through and shot attempt, but they were just too quick to put their hands back down. I forgot who was guarding him exactly. So that's at least the way I read it. I think that's why they didn't use up the entire 3 seconds on the shot. He was trying to foul bait and get to the line. Perfect way to go out for the 76ers. As for the New York Knicks, they have been playing beautiful basketball, both ends. It has been absolutely fantastic. OG Anunoby has been one of the best acquisitions a team has made mid-season. He has shown to be an insane improvement and help on this team. I'm so sad that my Sacramento Kings didn't pick him up. But obviously, if you're going to talk about the Knicks and in the playoffs, you have to talk about Jalen Brunson. He has been a playoff riser. Someone that has been just, I mean, I don't even know how many words I could really say about him. He has been fantastic. He has playoff playoff franchise records already. I'm pretty sure it was 2 games ago, maybe a game ago, I can't remember at this point, where he scored, I think it was like 47 points or some shit like that. Most points scored in the playoffs by a single player on the Knicks. But Josh Hart, that's all I have to say at this point. I don't have to say anything else. I don't have to talk about any other thing he did in this game, because all I have to say is Josh Hart, and you know exactly what I'm talking about and exactly what impact he's had on this team. Also, there was a funny point throughout the game. I don't know if I can find the exact clip, but TNT showed up like a little side graphic that said the bench points per team, and the New York Knicks had like 2 bench points and the 76ers had like 40, which just goes to show you how much Tibbs makes this team run around and doesn't use his depth at all, which makes me think, how long can the Knicks last in the playoffs? Like, I feel like they did really good coming back off of an OT game and having like Dante DiVincenzo play for 48 minutes, Josh Hart 46, 43 from Brunson, 45 from Anunoby. How long can they keep this going? They gotta run out at some point. So the New York Knicks have advanced. What does that mean for the 76ers? Well, I'm gonna keep it kind of brief, but I think this is the end of the process. And I know you guys aren't gonna like what I'm gonna say here, okay? You might think I'm being a doomer. You might think I'm over exaggerating over a first round exit to, you know, the star player on the 76ers being injured and whatever. Is this going to be the end or the descending of Joel Embiid's prime? I know it's insane to say that maybe a guy who was just averaging 35 points in the regular season and was bound to be the unanimous MVP had he been healthy the entire season could be, you know, nearing his end. But that's exactly the problem. Joel Embiid is 30 years old. 30 years old. Now, Nikola Jokic and Giannis are 29 years old and have won a championship already and have at least made the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals multiple times. Joel Embiid is 30 and hasn't even touched an Eastern Conference Finals. And every single time now he's in the playoffs, he's hurt, he's injured. He can't be a dominant Joel Embiid. So at what point do you sit there as, you know, Daryl Morey and say, man, maybe it won't happen? I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm just being an insane doomer, and it's obvious that I'm not a Joel Embiid fan, so I don't want to sound like I'm just a hater being like, they should just get rid of him. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit out of hand, but point is, things are looking shaky. 30 years old, no Eastern Conference Finals, no success in the playoffs, injuries keep happening, you're not getting any healthier, your knees are giving out. I don't know. It's looking rough. Unfortunately, very sad, unfortunately. But over in the Pacers and Bucks series, Tyrese Halliburton has not been the player that I've been expecting or wanted him to be when it comes to the postseason. Tyrese has shown up in big moments when you look at like the in-season tournament. He's been having good games in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. He's not like a playoff dropper or anything, but he hasn't had like one of those games yet that you're like, oh my God, he is the future. Like, he is a generational point guard. We haven't had that yet. We've had it in the regular season, but not in the postseason. Whereas Pascal Siakam has had those games. I don't think the Pacers would be anywhere near where they are right now had Pascal Siakam not dropped damn near 40 points in the first 2 games. Like, we'd probably be looking at a game 7 series or maybe a Bucks win had he not have had those performances. So it's huge for the Pacers that they had that. McConnell just for some reason turned into an absolute god in this game to close things out. Very awesome. I guess if you're a Pacers fan, you take that. For the Bucks though, I want to give every single bit and ounce of credit to Damian Lillard. He's gonna get laughed at. He's gonna get made fun of because he ran from the grind and was a first round exit. Okay, that's just gonna happen. That's the nature of the NBA, unfortunately. But this man, while injured, went out and performed every single night that he could. I know there was one game that he missed recently, but he was out there and put up damn near 30 points while being injured because he knew what was on the line. Unfortunately, things just don't go your way sometimes. But to me, that shows that Dame is about that, and to see him out there, he deserves so much credit for doing everything he can. Chris Middleton is someone that I genuinely feel bad for because in their last game, he was the reason why they won. I mean, he had the 2 insanely clutch shots. Chris gets absolutely no respect. No respect on this Bucks team. I'm sorry. And seeing that clip of him crying on the bench after this loss was just really tough to see because even when the Bucks won their championship, it was almost like everyone was either jerking off Giannis or Drew Holiday, that no one looked at Chris Middleton and was like, thank you for being the number 2. No one gave him any credit. He's done a lot of stuff for this franchise that has gone, you know, over everyone's heads. A lot of people talk about Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is Mr. Milwaukee, but Chris Middleton is some balding bum that sits on the sideline like that. Like, that's the way that this goes. It's really sad to see. He also deserves a lot of credit, but we need to talk about Giannis, the elephant in the room. And I'm gonna sound like that one dude that was talking about James Harden when he first went to the Clippers, but for Giannis, I don't know how bad his injury is, okay? I don't know the details of it. I don't know how close he was to returning. I don't know if he could have been out there tonight. I don't know. Point is, he was on the bench. And I just kind of want to say this to pre-5 inquire the situation because he hasn't actually said anything yet, but I have a feeling there will be some quotes over the summer, and I just want to address them now because I feel like we need to get it out of the way as early as possible. If Giannis tries to somehow talk his way out of Milwaukee or say something like, we just have to be better, like we need to really make a championship run this year, I'm sorry, but the Bucks losing this series was your fault. I know that you're injured. I know. And it's not your fault that they lost, but you can't be out there and say, you know, oh, we got to be better, and if we're not better, I'm going to a different team. Because let's not forget, he was saying that stuff this last summer. He was saying quotes like that. If we don't make the finals, I'm going here. I'm gonna have to reevaluate my options, because remember, he signed that extension, or he was like waiting to sign it. He's made these quotes before, which is why I want to talk about this and mention it right now, because I don't know if he's gonna say it again this summer. When in reality, your ass was on the bench the entire time. You didn't play in the first round. That's why you guys lost. You guys would have won this series had you have been in the lineup, right? So yeah, I know that he's going to be supportive and chill with all of his teammates, at least right now, but I am just saying, if he starts saying some shit like that later on in the summer, I will start slamming my head into walls and punching children. But when it comes to my round 2 predictions for the playoffs, I have the Knicks taking the series. I think it should still be a pretty fun series. Hopefully it's going to be very cool to see the Pacers kind of have this legendary moment, because they haven't been in the second round since 2011. That being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below your opinions and takes about any one of these series. Who do you have winning, the Pacers or Knicks? Let me know. I read and respond to everyone. And be sure to go check out some of my other videos as well. There's one up on the screen somewhere on here, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Later.